Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to your second day of online learning. It seems like Math 7-1 went well for you guys because I didn't get too many questions. So now we are moving on to Math 7-2. I will tell you that this one is just a little bit more challenging, so I'm actually going to split it up into 2 days, 2 different videos. So you will not have to do a math sheet today. So in that math packet, you won't have to do any of it today. Okay, so let's just go right ahead. Right here, we have a fraction bar, which you've looked at before when you looked at your fraction chart. So we have this chunk is 1/4, this chunk is 1/4, this chunk is 1/4, and this chunk is 1/4. So all together, you have one whole bar that's split up into 4 different pieces. Kind of the same thing when we look at a number line, but it's a little bit different. So here, it shows us this says 1/4. That means that this section is 1/4. Then here this says 2/4. That's representing these two sections together as 2/4. Then here we have 3/4. That's because we have 1, 2, 3/4 here. And then here we have 4/4. Now remember, when a number is stacked on top of itself is equal to 1. So just like this was one whole and it was split up into 4 different sections, this is one whole that's split up into 4 different sections. We just represent it a little bit differently. And actually, if you think about it, this is very similar to the way that a ruler looks, right? So on a ruler, when you're measuring and you measure something that's this length, you look right at this number and you know that it's 3/4 of an inch, okay? So here we have some number lines that are divided to show different fractions. Now, I want you to notice that it looks overwhelming, but I promise once I explain it, you'll understand what's going on here. So each of these number lines are the same. What I mean by that is 1 is in the same spot on all of them, and so is 2, and so on. So these number lines represent the same length, they're just split up into different amounts. So this one is showing us halves. As you can see, it's there's 2 as the denominator, so it's split up in halves. This one is split up in fourths, and then this one is split up in eighths. So you might be a little bit confused because you might forget that improper fractions exist. Remember, sometimes we have a bigger number on top than on the bottom, a bigger numerator than a denominator, and that's called an improper fraction or a fraction greater than 1. Remember, we know how to turn those into mixed numbers. You just divide. So when we have 3/2, you just do your little division here, and you say, I know 2 goes into 3 one time, or 1 times 2 gives me something close to 3 without going over. And I do my division, and I get 1.5. So see, they have their improper fraction there, and they have their mixed number. Okay, so it kind of looks the same, maybe a little more intimidating, but it's pretty much the same thing when you continue to look down here. So we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, which is the same as 1. Remember, all these are 1 right here. And then it's going to keep counting up. So this would be 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, 12/4, and so on and so forth. Now you might be wondering, well, Ms. Vanderstel, why did it skip some? Oh, that's because down at the bottom we are going to have to identify some points. Let's get to that in a second. Right now it's asking us to write greater than or less than signs to make each of these statements true. Now, on these statements, we can't use our handy-dandy rules here. Remember our rules, we learned how to compare fractions if they have the same numerator or the same denominator. Well, when you look here, these numbers don't have the same numerators and they don't have the same denominators. So we're going to have to use a different way. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our number lines. So let's find 3/4. So remember, this is the one that was showing us fourths. And so here's 3/4 on our number line. And then it asks us to find 5 halves. Okay, here's 5 halves on our number line. And it's asking us which one is bigger. Well, these are the exact same number lines, so just which one is further down the number line? 5 halves certainly is. So I would put my sign like that. That's a less than sign. 3/4 is less than 5 halves. Okay, same thing here. It's asking for 15/4 or 28ths. If you just look at those numbers, you might not know right off the top of your head which one is the bigger one, but we can find them on our number lines. So this one is the one that represents fourths to us. and I have 15 fourths there, 15 fourths. And then this is the one that has eighths, so I have 28ths right there. Oh, well again, I can see it pretty clearly. This one is further down the number line than this one is, so my 15 fourths is greater than my 28ths. All right, let's continue that. Now we have 10 fourths and 24 eighths. I'll find my 10 fourths somewhere along here. Here it is. And I'm going to find my 24 eighths. There it is. Okay, those ones are pretty close, but you can see that 24 eighths is further down the number line, so that is my one that is bigger then. Ooh, okay, they made it a little more challenging on us. This time, it's not in fraction form, it's in mixed number form. Some of you might already know because that's a 2 and that's a 1, that this one's going to be bigger, but we can still find it on our chart here. Let's see, I'm looking for 2 and 4/8 and 1 and 3/4. 2 and 4/8 is right here, and 1 and 3/4 is right here, so I can tell that 2 and 4/8 is my bigger one. All right, now this section is just asking us to identify some points. So write the fraction or mixed number for each lettered point above. So for part A, it's asking us to find our dot A. Oh, there it is. There's our point A. And it's asking, what's the fraction or mixed number for that one? Okay, well, I can just count along here. I have 0 halves, 1 half, 2 halves, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 halves. My point A would have been 9 halves, 9 over 2. But remember, I can turn that into a mixed number. Here is how I would do that. Remember, we do our division, so we do 9 divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 9 without going over? 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, I get 1. So it is 4 and 1 half. All right, let's find point B. Point B is right here, and again, I can just count up. 0 fourths, 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths, and 5 fourths. It would be 5 fourths right there. And again, I need to turn that into a mixed number, which I'm just going to do that one in my head, but remember, you would divide to do it. That's going to give me 1 and 1/4. All right, I think I'm going to skip down and do H, because that one's going to be a little more challenging. I think you guys could do the rest on your own, and if you want to, you can even pause the video and do it on your own. But H I'm going to skip down to because H is right here. Now I could go all the way up to back to the beginning and count all the way up, but I think I'm just going to start at 32 eighths. Right here I have 32 eighths, 33 eighths, 34 eighths, 35 eighths. I have, oops, I wrote that wrong, 35 eighths. Now I need to turn that into a mixed number, so I'm going to do 8 divided by 35. I know that 4 times 8 is going to give me 32, and so I'm going to get 4 and 3/8 right there. 4 and 3/8. All right, moving on to this next one. This is kind of the same thing, it's just showing us some more number lines. And it's asking us again, just like it did here, to look at our number lines and use these greater than and less than signs to determine which one's bigger or smaller. So we're going to look back at our number line here. And I actually want us to label it because it says tell how many equal parts are between 0 and 1. So between 0 and 1, how many equal parts are there? Well, I have an equal part here, and I have an equal part here, and I have an equal part here. So there's 3 equal parts, or this is split into thirds. All right, let's look here. I have equal part here, 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 and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 equal parts. This is split into sixths. And oh my goodness, I have so many here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is split into ninths. Okay? All right, now it's asking us to show our greater than and our less than signs, but I think that we might need to go ahead and do some labeling because right now it's asking us what's bigger, 4 thirds or 7/6, but I don't see anything labeled on here, so I can't really even compare them. So why don't I go ahead and do some labeling. So here I have 0. This is going to be 1/3. This is going to be 2 thirds. And I could write 3 thirds here. I think I will. But remember, 3 thirds is the same thing as 1. then I have 4/3, then I have 5/3, 6/3, and so on. Okay, we're going to end right there at 9/3. All right, and then here for 6, I have, oh, that's 0, but then the next one is 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6, 7/6. I know this is kind of tedious, but in the long run, it helps you to answer the questions in the end. I think we're going to stop right there. And then I have ninths, which, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit these all in here. Let's see. 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 5/9, 6/9, 7/9, 8/9, 9/9. Oh boy, I don't think I'm going to continue with that one because I could barely fit it all in there. Okay, but let's look at how we would figure this out. We have 4/3 and 7/6 is what we're trying to compare. So here I have my 4/3, and here I have my 7/6. So I can tell, oh, I probably should have done that in pink because I'm comparing them to each other. Whoops, there we go. I can tell that 4/3 is the bigger number right here. 4/3 is bigger than 7/6. Because again, remember that these number lines represent the exact same thing because 1 is the same here, 2 is the same here, and 3 is the same here. Okay? So then here it's asking 8/3 or 18/6, which I didn't go all the way up to 18/6, so why don't I write that in now? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Ooh, 18/6 is the same thing as 3. So let me compare my 18/6 and my 8/3. All right, I can tell that my 18/6 is the bigger one. All right, and we're going to skip this one for now. We're just going to move right on to identifying points. It asks us to figure out what A is. Oh, we already figured that out up there. It is 1/3. Asks us to figure out B. We already figured that out. It's 5/3. Which, if you did your division, you would find out that's the same as 1 2/3. C, oh, that looks like it is 10/3, which, if I did my division here, I would figure out is 3 1/3. All right, so if you want some practice, you could stop the video right there and figure out the rest of these on your own. I'm actually not going to do them right now, but that would probably be a good idea for you to just try to figure out if you could solve for those points and find out what fractions they are. Down here, it asks you to mark and label the letter of each fraction or mixed number on the number line. So right here, it's asking us, okay, where would 1/5 go on this number line? Which if we were to split it into 5 different parts, let's see. Here's 1 part, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's our 5 different parts. So 1/5 would go, I'm going to use a different color, 1/5 would go right here. That would be where point A would be, that is 1/5. But then this one asks us for 7/10. So if we were to split it into 10 parts, here's what we would need to do. Use every single little tick mark. And then count for ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Would go right there. That would be point B, which is 7/10. All right, I'm going to stop us there so that I don't give you guys too much information and have you overloaded with information, especially since I'm not really there to answer questions. Again, you are not going to have to do a page in your math packet, but there will be other things for you to work on as far as math goes, and you might want to go back and watch this video maybe one more time just so you make sure you're totally understanding. But that is all I have for you today, so thank you for watching.